Let's get straight into that debate whether this is a masterstroke by the BJP or has the BJP played its card too early. Joining us this evening is Dr. Rita Bahuguna Joshi, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Also joining us from Mumbai is Vice President and Member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha, Smriti Irani. Also with us this evening is author and columnist Sudhindra Kulkarni. Bharat Kumar Raut, Member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha from the Shiv Sena, also joins us. With us is also editorial chairman of the Outlook magazine, Vinod Mehta, and Kumar Ketkar, chief editor of the daily Divya Marathi. My first question to you, Smriti Irani, is the fact that this announcement has come within 3 months of the Goa National Executive. A day after the Goa National Executive, we all remember L.K. Advani resigned from all party posts. Is there something that you're expecting along the similar lines this time around also, because he's made his displeasure known, he's written a letter again today, he has been in Delhi, not attended the parliamentary board meeting. Is this the era of L.K. Advani over and the era of Modi not so gracefully begun?
I think the leader of opposition, Shri Arun Jaitley, has articulated very well the stand of the Bharatiya Janata Party vis-a-vis all the questions that you posed to him with regards to Mr. Advani's stand, with regards to the announcement of Shri Narendra Modi as the Prime Ministerial candidate. Let me just say this, that as a Karyakarta of the Bharatiya Janata Party, I am extremely delighted that the parliamentary board of my party has taken into cognizance the feeling of the cadre of the entire party, and giving voice to that feeling of the cadre. Today an announcement has been made which is historic in nature.
Ms. Rita Bahuguna Joshi, I mean, is this a master stroke by the BJP, or do you think the BJP has played its cards too early, given the fact that the Congress is nowhere close to announcing its own prime ministerial candidate, whether Rahul Gandhi will step into that job or not?
Well, it's good that the high-end drama is over within the BJP, though I could very visibly see, it was very clearly visible that many of the senior leaders were not happy because their reactions and their, the way they were speaking sounded that it was not a very unanimous decision. However, it's their party problem, they have to decide. But we are happy that at least this high-end drama is over. Ever since 2012 elections, Modi ji was pitching himself for this position. Rajnath Singh ji was trying hard. What they have done is their own business. Now the next step comes.
No, but Dr. Joshi, the question was on what is your position? What is the position of your party?
I'm saying.
What about your leadership issues? I mean, the BJP, Dr. Joshi, to be fair to the BJP, the argument that they keep giving that, you know, they are practicing their brand of what they call internal democracy. They can always turn back and say, what is your form of democracy?
We are a very stable party. We are not in a party in a hurry for power. The BJP thinks it's their last chance, and they have some that Modi is for them is like a savior at this moment. For us, the party is very stable. We have always given best prime ministers to the country, and we will also come up in time, proper time. It's too early to decide on these issues. Right now, my party and government is more concerned with bringing in bills and having those passed in the House in order to give the best that we can give to the common man and to the poor people. So our interest is basically providing social security to the common man in this country right now. And this will also come. 5 elections are coming. We'll contest those. The parliament election is a bit far off. We'll see when the time comes. This is for the High Command to decide, for the Working Committee to decide. But now I'm glad, and I would want from here on that the model which they want to replicate at a larger, mega level, at the national level, that is the Gujarat model, please start debating that model now. Let us see what is this model. Let us bear it. What we are scared of, people like me, who are secularists, people like we, who believe in inclusive democracy, that if the model of Gujarat is what the BJP wants to replicate, through its leader, who they say is now being acclaimed by the entire nation, it's a popular voice. Hitler was also a populist. He came into power through populism.
We'll come to that question of the Gujarat model, Ms. Joshi. We'll come to the question of the Gujarat model. Is that something that the Congress needs to emulate or be worried about? That is something that the jury is still out on. No, is the Congress worried about the Gujarat model or it's going to emulate? But let me draw in Sudhindra Kulkarni, who's worked very closely with Mr. L.K. Advani in the past. Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni, yesterday you tweeted and you even gave a statement that a man who has polarized his own party, will he be able to give a stable government? You've said that, you've made your views public, but Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni, as a person who's worked very closely with Mr. L.K. Advani, my question to you is, as the patriarch of the family, could Mr. L.K. Advani have conducted his opposition in a more graceful manner? Because that is something that would be associated with Mr. L.K. Advani.
You see, the decision that the BJP has taken is a majority decision, but it is not a unanimous decision, and it's a very important difference. Democracy is not just a mathematical concept. Here is the Ghar Ka Mukhiya, the head of the family, the tallest leader of the party after Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, expressing serious reservations about the choice of Narendra Modi or the manner in which it has been taken, because he is experienced. A lot of people misinterpret this as Advani ji's selfishness. He wants to become prime ministerial candidate himself. This is completely untrue. Those who know Advani ji well, and I can claim that I know him somewhat, he is the most selfless leader in Indian politics. Why has he taken this issue, this position? Because he sees the writing on the wall. He has enormous experience of Indian politics. In 1996, the BJP emerged as the single largest party with 166 seats. Even then, with a tall leader like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the party could not get enough allies to form a government. Within 13 days, the government collapsed. So he sees that with Narendra Modi, a polarizing leader, the BJP has very little chance of gaining allies to form a stable, good government. So his opposition today is in fact a note of warning to his own party and of course to the nation at large that now the country must move in a manner that unites all sections of people, and the leader of that government has to be a non-polarizing figure.
Smriti, Ghar Ka Mukhiya, that's what Sudhindra Kulkarni says. Ghar Ka Mukhiya knows the writing on the wall. Can the BJP afford to disregard what Mr. L.K. Advani, the insider, can see? Are you disregarding that completely?
I think by his own admission, Sudhindra Kulkarni ji has publicly stated that he is not a part of the BJP anymore. And by calling Advani ji Ghar Ka Mukhiya, let me say, wo mere ghar ke mukhya hain. And as much as I know Advani ji, he will never support a word spoken against the Bharatiya Janata Party or its leadership in the way that Mr. Kulkarni deems fit tonight on your channel. Let me only say this, that the voice of the cadre, that the need of the cadre and the demand of the cadre today was reflected in the parliamentary board. The parliamentary board took a unanimous decision to appoint and announce Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate of the Bharatiya Janata Party. You've had Arunji before on this show state the reasons and the way that this whole process came about. Let me reiterate, along with Narendra Modi, along with Arun Jaitley, along with Sushma Swaraj ji, along with Rajnath ji, Lal Krishna Advani ji also wants a Congress Mukta Bharat, and there is absolutely no confusion in that statement.
Kumar Ketkar, if I can come to you, I mean, there is this whole sparring going on between Sudhindra Kulkarni and Smriti Irani about who's the insider and who's the outsider. Do you see Mr. L.K. Advani as somebody who wrote a letter, resigned from all his party positions a day after the National Executive at Goa, stepped down from all these positions? Is this the end of the letter that he has written today to Rajnath, blaming Rajnath for, working in a style that is not approved by Mr. L.K. Advani? Or is there more to come from Mr. L.K. Advani, given the fact that the party clearly seems to have put him behind overruled him completely and moved ahead with a choice of Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate.
Yeah, it is true. Party has moved ahead, keeping Advani behind. But this is not new to the Sangha Parivar or the BJP or Jan Sangh in its earlier avatar. Balraj Madhok was sidelined, and finally Balraj Madhok is alone, fighting for the so-called party called Jan Sangh, which still exists. Most people don't know that. So it is not as if for the first time Advani has been sidelined. Balraj Madhok was sidelined, Nanaji Deshmukh was sidelined. So it is quite common practice for the BJP or the Sangha Parivar to sideline their senior leaders to make way for the so-called young and energetic in view of the power that they expect to come. So I think this is entirely based on power. It is not based on ideology at all. It is not based on any principle. It is not based on in any parampara which they talk about so much about family and internal and respect and all that. So I think it is perfectly in order. And also the time is absolutely according to their choice. The time is also according to their choice just before the assembly elections in 4 states.
It's all about power.
Yes?
Smriti Irani, the sense is that it's all about power.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nothing
It's a power-hungry
move away.
party. It's a power-hungry party, Smriti
Yeah, it's
Irani.
not ideology, not principles. It is not ideology, not principles, not tradition, not culture.
Party which has just shifted Mr. L.K. Advani on the side.
Nobody has shifted Advani ji to any side. Let me reiterate here, Advani ji has been an inspiring leader for all of us, including me. Advani ji has guided many political activists, including me, in our careers. But the hallmark of the Bharatiya Janata Party is that this is a party of the cadre, by the cadre, dedicated to the nation. And it is the cadre today which
So that's a message to Mr. Advani.
Was extremely interested.
So Smriti Irani, wouldn't this be seen as, Ms. Irani trying to send out a message to Mr. Advani that learn that this is a party of the cadre, by the cadre, for the cadre?
In fact, Sanket, this is a message to the entire nation that a man born in a village in Gujarat, born to a family which was not economically very empowered, who had to literally sell tea at the railway station, can through a democratic process, through hard work, through talent, not only become the chief minister of a state, but can also aspire to be the prime minister, which is something that cannot be said for the Congress party. I think today is not only a celebration for BJP workers, but also a celebration of Indian democracy, that a man not born to a political family, that a man not born with a silver spoon in his mouth, can aspire and can one day hold the highest office in the nation.
What does Smriti say about Lal Bahadur Shastri? What does she say about Narasimha Rao? What does she say about Dr. Manmohan Singh?
Rita ji, by your own admission, what is there? Rita ji, by your own admission, prime ministers in your party are anointed by the High Command.
Narasimha Rao.
Are you telling me prime minister in your party has not been anointed by the High Command?
Smriti Irani, many would say that you get your command from the RSS.
Back your statement 5 minutes
you
ago.
also listen to me. I heard you.
Rita ji, I have not finished.
What do you think about the background of
let me finish
I'm
first.
asking you a question.
In the beginning of this
I'm asking
interview,
you a question. You please
ask me the question when I'm done answering Sanket's question. Madam, you asked me a question when I'm done answering.
Smriti Irani, many would say that you are saying that there is a high command culture in the Congress. Many would accuse the BJP of having another high command structure. The RSS, remote controlling from Nagpur.
No, you had a unanimous decision taken. And Sanket, you had a unanimous decision taken by various leaders who are very well present in front of the entire Indian media.
But the RSS has to intervene
each
time, Smriti.
Board is reflective of the voice of the cadre. Now the question that has still been, no, it did not have to intervene. The only question that has gone unanswered tonight on your show is who's
Mohan Bhagwat had to personally intervene to get...
There have been several rounds of meetings, Smriti. What are you saying? Bhaiyaji Joshi had met Mr. L.K. Advani.
Mohan Bhagwat
had dinner with Mr. L.K. Advani to persuade him. There have been several rounds of meetings with the RSS. How can you deny that there was no intervention by the RSS?
You said that I am not privy... No, Smriti, just quickly, telling you made a point that I'm not privy as to what RSS is actually doing or Mohan Bhagwat is doing. There is a press statement by the RSS which says that Mr. Mohan Bhagwat spoke to LK Advani and after that forced him to take back his decision. This is in June 2013 when he resigned. It's based on facts. What I'm saying is based on facts.
From what I know of it,
come to the forefront of decision making in BJP. Earlier they were behind the scenes. Now
my name is Smriti Irani and not Rita Bahuguna Joshi
is in the forefront. So I'm very happy that now the cards are all open for the country to decide. With its RSS, which is going to decide political issues, because now they are directing who will become the leader, what will be the agenda, how will the campaign progress. Everything is into the hands of the RSS. That RSS, which was in the backstage earlier, and said did not have anything to do with politics. We are very happy. We are very happy now.
The way you speak tonight compels me to say.
Ms. Rita Bahuguna
Joshi speaks tonight.
Let Smriti reply. Let her rebut you.
She has more access and with the RSS than I do. Let me just say this, that the question that has gone unanswered tonight on your show is who's the Congress's prime ministerial candidate, and that question is extremely valid because 2 weeks ago you had the Prime Minister of the nation on an aircraft tell journalists that I'm more than happy to work under the leadership
to this country. Why are you worried? We've always given very good prime ministers to the country. We'll give
Joshi, I'm not at all worried.
You are in a hurry. We are not in a hurry.
Absolute lack of
leadership.
Go
through democratically. We will take
a decision. You are not in a hurry because you've got nobody to run the race.
We are not criticizing you.
Let me draw in Mr. Mehta into this debate. Ms. Smriti Irani and Ms. Rita Bahuguna Joshi, hold your thoughts. There is enough time for you to spar, but let me draw in Mr. Vinod Mehta into this entire debate. Mr. Vinod Mehta, of course the Congress and the BJP continue to spar over whether it's Modi versus Rahul, who's better, who can give better Prime Minister. But the question really, Mr. Vinod Mehta, is has the BJP really made a masterstroke here by anointing Narendra Modi today, or have they been a little bit hurried not getting Advani on board? Will that harm their chances in the coming weeks and months?
Well, thank you, Navika. My ears are bursting because your debate is so contentious. But you know, what I am saying is that you have had a coronation. That's true. So that part of the game is over. But the crown sits very uneasily on Mr. Modi's head. Because whatever spin you might like to give on it, the fact that Mr. Advani was not there and in his letter makes very interesting reading. And if you add to the fact that Sushma Swaraj and Murli Manohar Joshi were turned around at the last moment, this means that you have a permanent sort of fifth column inside the top leadership of the BJP. So it has been a very divisive coronation. And just let me say something else about this, what Mr. Arun Jaitley said about cadres. Now suddenly the BJP is saying that the cadres are very important, and because the cadres wanted Mr. Modi, therefore they ignored Mr. Advani. Now of course cadres are important, but if you have leaderless cadres, if you have your top leadership divided vertically down the middle, then the cadres are going to be more confused. Then what will they understand from this coronation? That the so-called tallest leader of the BJP is not in line. Sushma Swaraj has been brought in at the last minute. Murli Manohar Joshi is not in line. So what kind of unity is there? There is absolutely no unity, and this has been a most divisive coronation.
Smriti Irani, let me get your reaction to the question that was raised by Mr. Vinod Mehta, that there has been absolutely no unity, it's a divisive house, and the letter that has been written this evening by Mr. LK Advani blaming the BJP president. In fact, he says, आप जब मुझे मिलने आए थे आज सुबह, मैंने अपने मन की व्यथा के बारे में और आपके कार्य संचालन के विषय में अपनी निराशा के बारे में कुछ कहा था. So he's questioned the way the BJP president Rajnath Singh is conducting the BJP's affairs. isn't that a very serious question raised by the patriarch of the BJP itself?
चूंकि आपने अडवाणी जी के पत्र के विषय में इस वक्त हिंदी में बात की है, इसलिए नाविका मैं हिंदी में ही आपके प्रश्न का उत्तर देना चाहूँगी। अडवाणी जी एक ऐसे नेता हैं जिन्होंने मुझ जैसे कार्यकर्ताओं को अपना हाथ पकड़ के आगे बढ़ाया। मेरे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष राजनाथ सिंह जी और अडवाणी जी के बीच में जो भी वार्तालाप होगी वो पार्टी की चार दीवारी में होगी। इस पर टिप्पणी सार्वजनिक स्तर पर करना मुझे उचित नहीं लगता है।
Okay. Get your point. Mr. Bharat Kumar Raut, just coming across to you. Mr. Raut, don't you think that this is going to be a very peculiar situation for the Bharatiya Janata Party? Because the hunt for allies, as was said by, the gentleman sitting next to you, Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni, in 1996, if you go by the 96 model, it became very difficult to keep the flock together. You were not getting allies. Do you see a repeat of that happening in 2014? Should the BJP reach, a figure where it can actually stake claim at formation of the government?
Sanket, at this moment, it is very, very loaded and hypothetical question as well. Elections are still 6 months down the line. There will be many changes, many developments happening in this, and I don't see any reason why one should be worried about NDA getting allies post-election. If NDA crosses the 200 or 225 mark, then I don't think the small parties will be left with any other choice but to join the bandwagon, and therefore I don't see any reason why that could be a matter of worry. That is not a thing. Here the question is, everybody is talking about Modi or the split within the vertical split, as Vinod Mehta said, within party. I don't see any such reason.
You want to counter that?
Yeah.
The Shiv Sena, the very little allies left in the NDA, the National Democratic Alliance, see a situation that, there is not going to be the sort of crisis that we see at this moment. How do you look at it?
You are asking me, Sanket? Yeah, my answer is that...
that was for Mr. Kulkarni.
Okay.
You see, it should be remembered that in 1996, there was no NDA, but the BJP still had managed to bring into its alliance a very important segment, that is the Samata party at that time. George Fernandes and Nitish Kumar had attended the BJP's Maha-Adhiveshan in Mumbai. Today, the number of allies of the BJP has shrunk further. It's only 2 allies now. And the BJP is thinking of forming a government, coronation. I want to go back to the point that Arun Jaitley ji made and other leaders of the BJP are making. Oh, it's the preference, it is the decision of the cadres that we are respecting. True leadership is giving leadership to the cadre and not being led by the cadre. There is a section of BJP's cadre, workers and the supporters who want a polarizing leader, and they want Indian society to be polarized further in the hope of getting more seats. This is not good for the country, and it's not even good for the BJP itself.
The 1991 Yatra of Mr. L.K. Advani, wasn't that a polarization of the entire country? Wasn't the Yatra which led to the demolition of the Babri Masjid in 1992 an entirely polarizing exercise? I mean, how can you point fingers at Modi, especially when you've been very close to Mr. L.K. Advani, and that's what his critics accuse him of?
And you will be accused of selective criticism.
Not at all.
Choosing to ignore one particular aspect.
You see, Advaniji's role in the Ayodhya movement has to be analyzed in totality. He was not in favor of the demolition of the Babri Masjid. On that day, he said, it is the saddest day in my life. Also, Advaniji has evolved over the years. You see, democracy, especially Indian democracy, it is a great teacher. It changes the outlook, the thinking, the conduct of any
give Mr. Modi a chance.
Person.
Maybe he will evolve too.
Possible. You see, even Narendra Modi is likely to evolve, but he should evolve. And the question that you asked earlier, why has he not commented? Why has he not commented on the Muzaffarnagar riots?
For the party or the country.
You see, The test of Narendra Modi becoming an inclusive leader is to very strongly say no communal politics, no polarizing politics. Let's unite the country. If he says this, it's good for the country, it's good for the BJP. But the BJP is today following a two-track policy.
No, but here I would like to ask Sudhindra.
Let me welcome Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Deputy Leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is joining us in this heated debate at this moment. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, we have a heated debate on here. Mr. Vinod Mehta wanted to make a point to Sudhindra Kulkarni, and I'll come to you after that.
Who
I think. Am I supposed to speak? Navika?
Mr. Vinod Mehta, you wanted to make a point to Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni.
Yeah. You know, the point I want to make is, let's not make Mr. L.K. Advani into some kind of angel, that some kind of angelic figure. I mean, he's playing his own politics. And Mr. Modi is playing his own politics. But how does it help the voter, the independent observer, that if the BJP is a house divided with the top leadership playing their own politics? I don't want to take any sides. I'm not saying Mr. Modi is right and Mr. Advani is right. But they are both playing politics. But what is the end result of that? The end result is that you have a top leadership which is divided. And how is this divided leadership going to give any inspiration, any kind of direction to the so-called cadres who want Mr. Modi, to lead the country? If Mr. Modi is always looking over his shoulder to see what googly Mr. Advani has bowled, then he will be always, he'll always be worried about this. He'll be concentrating more.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, that's a very valid question. You know, what will you do with leadership of Narendra Modi if he has to constantly look behind his shoulder to look at what Mr. Advani is going to do next? He's written one letter tonight. Will he write another letter tomorrow? What happens to other leaders like Jaswant Singh, like Murli Manohar Joshi, like Shatrughan Sinha, like Yashwant Sinha, who in the past have made several statements against Mr. Modi? Is Mr. Modi going to continue to battle the critics within the party, or is he going to lead the BJP to battle with the principal opposition that it has in the form of the Congress?
Well, you have asked me a lot of questions, Navika. I hope you will give me a little time. First of all, today is the moment for Mr. Modi. It is a moment for BJP. It is a moment for all the people of India, the cadre, the well-wisher, who are yearning for a change because of stinking corruption, gross misrule, price rise, and India's story under cloud, which people want to have a change. I think that has to be appreciated. Second, I would like to highlight, after all, we are not a family-driven party, where the son from a family or the daughter of the family only will become the leader. Here is a case where change, generational change, is integral to BJP. You know, state after state, in Bihar, Sushil Modi, I am there. After all, there were senior leaders. Shivraj Singh Chauhan is there in Madhya Pradesh. There was Mr. Patwa was there. Other state leaders have changed. Therefore, change is a part of the process. Thirdly, being a democratic party, let me concede, Navika, there will be debate. There will be differences. There will be consultation, there will be coordination, but once a decision is taken, it is taken and the entire party accepts it. Advani is our tallest leader.
But a debate and a difference of opinion with the Mukhia of the party, that's what is being questioned. It gives a sense that it is a completely divided house within the BJP, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. It's not a level of competition between Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Mr. Narendra Modi. That would have been seen as a natural competition between two equals. In this case, the dissension has come right from the top. It's come from Mr. L.K. Advani, the patriarch of the family, and he's made it public by writing this letter. And in this letter, he's questioned the working style of the BJP party president, Mr. Rajnath Singh. That gives the sense to the cadre that their own party is a divided house. You've lost the elections of 2004 and 2009. The cadre probably expects, the entire team to come together. It's not happening for the BJP.
What is surprising, Navika, is that you are writing our obituary when couple of hours ago Mr. Modi has been anointed. You are being grossly unfair. Advani ji is our tallest leader. You want me to publicly comment about Advani ji? We will never do it. We hold him in great regard. If there are certain concerns, the party will take him on board, and discussions and whole deliberations will take place. But what is more important is that surely we shall give an impression of unity that will come about. But I would like to, you interrupted me midway.
That impression is not
After all, we have primaries
across.
in England.
And do you feel he will come along?
Oh.
That impression is not coming across at all,
Either,
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. That's the question.
Navika, either you allow me to speak or keep on interrupting me. I'm sorry to say that. Please allow me to speak. Today it has happened. Today, just 2 hours ago, give the inner working of the party a chance. I'm sure Mr. Narendra Modi went to seek his blessings, Advani ji. The first thing he did. Surely it is a part of the whole process. We have our differences. Let me take the whole debate to a broader issue. In America, when the primaries are there, differences are there or not. But ultimately, leaders come and work together. The same is the case in England. When we know that Ed Miliband and David Miliband, the two brothers, fought for the chairmanship of the Labour Party. Therefore, allow our democratic credentials of the BJP, of debate, of discussion, of taking our elders along, the top leadership of Sri Advani, we are very proud of. Surely it will come about. And we want to assure the nation, don't rush to judgment so soon. We will give a very good leadership, a very credible campaign, a very profound alternative for the people of the country against the misrule, stinking corruption of this government. And let me assure Mr. Mehta, Mr. Mehta has got every right to keep on writing the obituary of BJP, which he has been writing for the last so many years. And I respect his right to write the obituary of BJP as a very eminent journalist. But the people of the country will take a call. Neither Mr. Mehta, nor Mr. Kulkarni, nor Navika, nor Sanket. And I'm sure the people of the country, when the time will come, are yearning for a change. Therefore, in all the surveys, Narendra Modi is always voted as the tallest popular leader, having 45% rating in comparison to Rahul Gandhi, 17 to 18%.
Mr. Vinod Mehta, do you buy the theory of Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, who's almost behaving as if he is living in America and these are the primaries? I mean, is the Indian ground situation similar or even comparable?
I did not say that, Navika. You are not being fair to me. I didn't say that.
No, this is neither the US or the UK.
You're almost pretending, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, that you don't come from Patna, you don't know where Chhapra is, but you're talking about the American primaries and the presidential form of government. Mr. Vinod Mehta, please...
Navika, I was only given an example of inner party democracy. Don't misunderstand me. I know my Patna very well. I know my Chhapra very well. I remain firmly to the ground. You know it too well.
Mr. Vinod Mehta, you were making a point.
We are not into a presidential form of government.
I heard Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Go on, Mr. Mehta.
And he is a very... I've heard Mr. Ravi Shankar, and he's a very amiable and very friendly person to debate with. But I found it extraordinary today when he said that what you're seeing in the BJP at the moment is democratic debate. What you're seeing, I would say, in the BJP today is harakiri. I mean, if the ejection of Mr. Advani and making him into a permanent rebel is democratic debate, then I don't know, this is carrying democratic debate too far. There is very serious fissures in the leadership of the BJP, top leadership, and whatever spin you might give it, you are not going to paper over these differences, because those differences are not coming from our correspondent or are coming from sources. Mr. Advani is out in the open. His letter is there, and therefore there is no ambiguity about his position, and I don't believe that we've heard the last of Mr. Advani's opposition. Mr. Advani will continue to snipe away. He is not going to sit back and allow this snub that has been delivered to him and take it. He's going to come back. At the time of his own choosing, he will come back and give a second kind of letter or second kind of blow. So don't underestimate Mr. Advani's
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, we saw that happening.
Mischief.
We actually saw that happening in June at the National Executive in Goa. Ostensibly, he was unwell. He did come for that National Executive, but the next day he resigned from his positions. And we saw a beeline of leaders going in and trying to persuade him. This time, the beeline of leaders actually went to him in the days preceding today's parliamentary board. Several rounds of meetings, even today, at least 3 rounds of meetings, yet he hasn't come on board. The fact is that he is not on board, he is not given his blessings to the announcement, to the parliamentary board meeting. Is there a fear somewhere within the BJP? Of course, Mr. Narendra Modi has the right to be anointed. Of course, the BJP has the right to choose him. But is there a lurking fear within the BJP somewhere that step 2 from Mr. L.K. Advani still to come, and that could be a setback for the party?
First of all, Mr. Vinod Mehta and you are being grossly unfair to Mr. Advani, that he will take a snipe. If he resigned, he also withdrew the resignation. You all know it. He is our tallest leader. He has built the party, and surely he will bless. As I told you, if there are some concerns, they will be addressed, surely. But when we go for consultation, we go for guidance, we go for debate also. What is the problem, Navika, I apologize to you again. After all, we are not a family concern.
You made it a habit, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, you made a habit of that.
I apologize, Navika, please. After all, it is happening that I am coming from that show to this show, therefore at least allow me that indulgence. But sorry once again. I am asking you a question. We don't seek Rag Darbari only. We don't seek Rag Darbari only, Navika. We debate, we discuss, we are proud of that. And having worked with the party for the last so many years, I know that we have got one of the most honest dispensation as far as difference of opinion is concerned. But once a decision is taken, once a call is taken, and therefore let me come to the point. Why Modi has been elected? Because there is a yearning for change in the country against the misrule, stinking corruption of the Congress-led UPA government.
No, Mr.
And the
Prasad,
people of the country
the only
want
one
Mr.
small
Modi's
point that I want
governance,
to make here.
his impeccable integrity and his leadership. Yes.
Mr. Prasad, the only one small point I want to make here is that just a short while back to a question being asked by Navika, you said that if Mr. Advani resigned, he took back his resignation. The fact is, Mr. Prasad, he took back his resignation because the RSS had to intervene. He did not do it on his own. So this time around also, is this the last that
I think Sanket, you are again at least please,
so I'm
don't be unfair to a leader who is our guardian.
Facts.
No, please. No. Therefore, if there is an inner dynamics of the working of my party, where we debate, where we discuss, we consult, we persuade, allow that process to go on. But to say that Advaniji will take a snipe at BJP, you are being unfair to my party and you are being unfair to Advaniji. That is not the case. Allow the moment of today to allow to have the full play, and I'm sure the people of the country would veer around to the BJP towards the leadership of Mr. Narendra Modi for a decisive change whenever election is held.
Kumar Ketkar and Rita Bahuguna Joshi, the one question that everybody would like to know is the Congress party ready for a presidential form of election, that the BJP is most willing to make this? Mr. Kumar Ketkar, to you first, is this going to be now a presidential kind of fight, and is that to the BJP's advantage?
Well, that is what Narendra Modi is trying to do. Narendra Modi is trying to convert the entire poll into a presidential poll. But the point was what we were discussing before about the so-called evolution of leaders. Now, in 2002, Vajpayee ji called Narendra Modi a kalank, a stigma, a black spot on the entire Indian democracy. And at that time, Advani supported. He is the best of the chief ministers, best of the BJP leaders. That's what Advani's comment on Modi was. Now, Advani is questioning Modi's leadership and Rajnath Singh's leadership, and Narendra Modi has been appointed. So everybody has turned a full circle, from Vajpayee to Advani, from Advani to Modi, and now Modi condemning the rest of the people without saying so publicly, like the BJP leadership in private, BJP cadres in private are condemning LK Advani as if he doesn't exist. They don't want him to exist. They don't want him to rule. You should hear the language the so-called cadre of the BJP is using against Advani. It would be unfair for me to make those comments or repeat those comments on TV channel. It is completely insulting to Advani, that comments they are making, and that's how the full circle has been made. And now they are questioning about the presidential poll and prime ministerial poll. India is totally different. You can always, like Ravi Shankar Prasad said, give examples of internal democratic functioning. But this is not internal democratic functioning. This is a RSS type style of functioning. RSS does not elect its leader. RSS does not elect Sarsanga Chalak. RSS chooses Sarsanga Chalak according to the tradition. Now here neither tradition is observed, nor democracy is observed, and we are talking of inner democracy and American primary type of electioneering in this country. I think it is completely outside the mark, outside the focus that we are discussing. What will be decided finally in different states of development are different positions altogether. Orissa cannot be compared with Gujarat, Gujarat cannot be compared with Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu cannot be compared with West Bengal.
That's true.
So I think each state has different approach, and so each state's party leadership also has a different approach, and therefore the question of so-called presidential approach is completely non-existent and totally irrelevant.
Ms. Rita Bahuguna Joshi, the question for the Congress is, whether you like it or not, the fact is that the BJP's got the first mover's advantage. They've decided whether their house is currently divided and subsequently will settle down is another matter, internal matter of the BJP. But for the moment, they seem to have decided that their trump card for this 2014 elections is Narendra Modi. Whether it's a presidential form of elections, whether it's a party versus issue form of elections, whichever way you look at it, it is going to be a Rahul versus Narendra Modi election of 2014. Somewhere, do you think the Congress will need to sharpen up, given the fact that you're now being put against Narendra Modi, it's no longer a amorphous BJP, but Narendra Modi, a man that you will really have to reckon with in the elections of 2014?
Well, it's a long question, but I do not understand why a section of the BJP is so euphoric about Modi ji's elimination and anointation, because I see our democracy is very different. Along with the individual, the voters want to see, the country wants to see the party and the ideology which that person is espousing. And here he will fail miserably because he is the hardcore face of Hindutva. The Gujarat experience has been very bad in terms of inclusive democracy. He has been silent on issues where there has been tension, communal tension amongst the people. He was totally silent on the Muzaffarnagar issue. So people are watching all this. He does not have allies because the presence of BJP in South India.
But Rahul Gandhi is silent on several issues.
They do not
the Congress party is the last party which should raise this issue, Ms. Rita Bahuguna Joshi. When has Rahul Gandhi made any comment on Muzaffarnagar?
Navika, I have not spoken.
You're questioning Narendra Modi not making
Rahul Gandhi does not. Rahul Gandhi does not.
He hasn't said anything on Muzaffarnagar.
But even if a bird flies, in the sky, Modi ji is the first to tweet on it. Why is he quiet? He has to answer. Today is the day when Modi ji and his party has to answer. So what I'm saying is, it's an age of coalition government. Most of the major regional parties have distanced themselves from Modi and BJP if he's leading it. And he has only two allies, Shiv Sena and Akali Dal. And they themselves are saying 160, 170. See, they neither have the credible face which talks about inclusive democracy. They do not have a party which has a presence pan-India in terms, as far as the parliament is concerned, national politics is concerned. And I think they have nothing to worry. We are going to fight an ideology. Atal ji was declared as Prime Minister candidate, then was Advani ji. Now it's Modi, it's an internal matter. But they are fractured, it's a fractured party and things will unravel and we have to fight RSS. We don't have to fight Modi ji. We have to fight RSS because it's the first time in the elections of India, the RSS has come in the full front and they are going to fight this election. They're deciding the leadership issue. They're deciding the issues which will be picked up in the elections. They are deciding the campaign. So I think we have to fight RSS ideology, which we've
Mr.
done
Ravi
all
Shankar
along.
Prasad, that's the charge being made at the BJP, that this is by proxy a war of the RSS. That's one question. The other question being that Mr. Narendra Modi, who speaks on every issue, hasn't spoken on Muzaffarnagar because does he carry some sort of a baggage with him that he doesn't comment on riot-like situations, or is there something that's holding him back?
First of all, let me tell you, I heard a lot of argument from Mr. Modi. You always rake up the issue of 2002. Mr. Narendra Modi is the chief minister for now 12 years. It is 13 years going. And the extraordinary record of governance, Gujarat having the best growth rate of Muslims in India, in Gujarat, is not being mentioned. And that's what people are seeing. They are going with his record of governance, all round, decisive leadership, impeccable integrity, and overall governance record in contrast to malgovernance and corruption of the UPA. That issue, and therefore I say yearning for change. Now as far as riots are concerned, they are always unfortunate. He has himself stated, why not? But this whole issue about RSS, which the Congress representative is saying, then let me say her very gently. Whenever Congress has challenged RSS, Congress has always suffered humiliating defeat. The same they raised in 77.
You accept
the same they raised in the whole 90s.
When RSS is your front face.
Madam, I never interrupted you. Please wait for your turn. I am only saying your allegation. I always say today parliamentary board took a decision. We take our decision. Yes, we do consult. RSS is a very patriotic organization. I am proud of my own association. But the larger issue is this whole kind of, at times IRSS, at times secularism, these all being talked about, phony secularism, is nothing but to hide away the malgovernance, stinking corruption, and India's growth story over. Therefore, Navika, I have to go to other channel. Let me make my last point. The election, coming election, will be fought on issue of governance, on issue of future of India, on issue of aspiring India, on issue of a future India, not the insecure, suffering India which the UP has left. And that is why Modi will be the hope, BJP will be the hope, and let the election comes, the result will be astonishing and will cross more than 200 very comfortably, and will also have good number of allies and also post allies. Thank you.
Will this 2014 election be an election of personalities, Rahul Gandhi versus Namo, or will it be an election of issues, malgovernance, corruption and price rise? That's what we are going to keep our eyes very, very closely on. Thank you for joining us for this debate, very heated debate that we had this evening. Very good night to you from Sanket and me.